Welcome to Wildfire. I'm Denby Sheather, and this is Midlife Medicine for women on the rise. Here, we believe your body isn't burning out, it's burning through. I speak with healers, teachers, and medicine women who walk this path alongside us. And once a month, in our Wisdom in the Room segment, I sit with real, ordinary women whose stories are the medicine. No pedestals, no credentials required, just truth. So, let's light it up. Not a medical word, not a symptom, not a diagnosis. It's a word that I believe is the missing language of women's midlife health. A word, once you have it, can change the way. Today, I want to give you a word, not a medical word, not a symptom, not a diagnosis. A word that I believe is the missing language of women's midlife health. A word that, once you have it, changes the way you see everything that is happening in your body right now. That word is mana. And by the end of this episode, I want you to feel it, not just understand it. Feel it in your body. Because mana is not a concept, it is a lived experience. And you have felt it, even if you didn't have a name for it yet. Mana comes from Polynesian and Pacific traditions, Hawaiian, Maori, and many others. In its original context, mana means life force, sacred power. The vitality that flows through all living things when they are in right relationship with themselves, each other, and the earth. It is not something you earn, it is something you carry. Something you either have access to or have been cut off from. In my work, in Mana Yoga Medicine, I use this word because I believe it is the most honest way to describe what I see happening in women's bodies. So what does mana feel like when it is present? It feels like home, peaceful, safe, aligned. In my own body, mana feels nourishing, not lacking anything. A sense of being weighted but not heavy, of feeling light but not untethered. Energetically, mana gives me a deep sense of knowing and trust that nothing and no one can harm me when I embody my full potential and refuse to self-sacrifice. When I allow myself to receive, be that nutrients, support, creative ideas, new relationships, and even work and life opportunities. And here is what mana is not. It is not the wellness industry's version of quote unquote energy. It is not about doing more, achieving more, or optimizing more. Mana is the deep, quiet, sovereign power of a woman who knows who she is, who trusts her body, who is in right relationship with her own life force. When you feel it, you know it. When it is absent, you feel that too. In the exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, in the flatness, in the sense that something essential has gone quiet. So how does a woman lose her mana? Let me count the ways. In the giving that never stops, the children who need you 24/7, the partner, the aging parents, the job, the community, the family or best friend in constant crisis, the client that keeps pushing boundaries. This disconnection from the body begins in girlhood, when we are taught that our bodies are problems to be managed, cycles to be hidden, and appetites, including sexual ones, to be suppressed and controlled. The cultural message that a woman's value is in her productivity, her availability, and her appearance, never in the depth of her knowing. And in the medical system that meets her natural transitions, her bleeding, her birthing, her midlife fire, with prescriptions and pathology, rather than with honour. I remember one client many years ago. Let's call her Betty. Betty was on the verge of collapse when we met, having spent the majority of 4 decades contorting herself almost into oblivion. Her nervous system was shot to pieces. She had no energy, no tools to draw upon, and no familial support. Her husband had recently died, she had no children, and the overwhelming grief had tipped her into dangerous self-harm territory. Finding her mana was the last thing on her mind, but it was the exact thing she needed to reclaim her mental health and start building a loving relationship with her body. In the course of just 6 months, Betty moved from broken to embodied, astounded by her own transformation. And it all started with the choice to give herself permission to start perceiving all her life experiences through the lens of limitless being. When she realised she was so much more than just a human experiencing pain in different ways, her power started to return. Her mana began to rekindle. Now, by the time many women arrive at perimenopause, they are already running on empty. Not because they are weak, because they have been systemically drained by the world, by their roles, expectations, and often by a relationship with their own body that has been built on suppression rather than trust. Perimenopause asks something radical of these women. It asks them to stop, to turn inward, to replenish, and to ask, perhaps for the very first time in their life, what does my body actually need? And here is what I want you to hear. And I want you to hear it in your body, not just your mind. Perimenopause is not a mana deficiency. It is a mana redistribution. The fire is not going out, it is changing direction. The life force that has been flowing outward toward everyone and everything except you is beginning to turn, to move inward, to ask, what does she need? What has she been given? What is finally hers? So this is not a hormonal malfunction. This is the body's intelligence doing exactly what it is designed to do at this stage of a woman's life. When you start engaging with your body from a place of empowered grace, acknowledging the incredible temple that it is, and determining to preserve the integrity of this incredible temple, no matter what, your experience of perimenopause can shift radically. You realise it is a sacred rite of passage, a privilege, in fact, not a punishment or a burden, and not something that you deserve to carry and suffer through. Once you make that shift, anything is possible.
So here is your invitation for this week. One simple thing. At least once today, just once, ask your body, where is my mana? Where does it feel alive in me right now? And where does it feel depleted? You don't need to fix anything, just notice. That noticing is the beginning of everything.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Wildfire. And if something in this conversation landed for you, sat with you, or lit something up inside or underneath you, I'd love for you to share it with a woman in your life you feel needs to hear it. Because that's how this medicine travels. Woman to woman, story to story, heart to heart. If you're ready to go deeper into your own midlife journey, come find me at dembysheather.com. The door to Mana Yoga Medicine is always open. And if today's conversation moved you, the most generous thing you can do is leave a review. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it helps Wildfire reach the women who need it most. Until next time, stay in your fire, stay on the rise, and remember, you are not burning out. You are becoming.